a lot to cover today. So as usual, like the video, always subscribe to the channel, join the email list because an email is going out this week and you don't want to miss it, okay? So, plus we have a sponsor today, Patriot Gold, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But this is beautiful out here today, just absolutely stunning. Absolutely, just a perfect morning. So, Maersk is the largest shipping container company in the world. They ship more than anybody else. They warn about their revenue being off 40%. 40%, guys. It's down just to $40 billion.
Hey everybody, Eddie Eagle, Stony, X-Pulse, Armex, Red Hook, David, Lowboy, Cliff, Jeff, the one that got away, the one that got away. So in about 45 minutes, we'll have the hamster on. Aloha. And all I can tell you is bloody hot in here, mate. It's bloody hot, mate. Bloody hot, mate. Bloody hell. I did ring. I don't know. I don't have a lot to say. I did look at the chart on Finger. I listened to a couple of videos, and I have to admit that I think tomorrow and Tuesday and Wednesday they could try their best to get the stock down, but not a lot. Here's my old chart I did, but my new one, it's pretty simple, and it's not very detailed, but I think this becomes a weird triangle here. This is a trend line here, or support even, and then this triangle here. So anyway, it's like a pennant formation almost. And so it's going to break out here one way or the other. And I admit this is viewing this in a very optimistic way, that this pullback just came to test support, and then we'll go back and forth. And I think we break out up. And I think here is the next target, which is, I don't know, 8.5, 8.5. That line looks a little slanted. And then this high over here is around 9.5. I don't think either of these is very much resistance. This and this is, and this was support. This is kind of support. This is kind of support. I can see how that's a little bit of resistance. But then I think we're headed, I didn't do this on this chart, but I still think this is in play, where this big trend line here, and we go to $70. How's that? And there's another trend line here. If you use the orange trend lines and go up this way, there's 56.50 right there. 56.50. So I'm just a little nervous about our August calls. It's the only thing I'm worried about. And then this graph is horrible, but it shows how high the stock ever was here. And I just have to tell it to you by memory. This was the graph I was using about 5 months ago, before it rallied. But anyway, this right here is around $17. So we got that going. And then I did this graph previously, and it has that same upper target. This one says 68.75. So anyway, here's a map of DC if you need one. I think I can throw that away because I don't need it. All right, let's see if there's any questions. Whoop, whoop. See if there's anything going on. Any word on logic? Logic? I have notes somewhere, but let me just do it without notes. Logic, I mean, it's the same story, so it almost gets repetitive. But logic, logic is distributing data logic, which is its entire platform, which is robust. It's got AI in it, every buzzword, but it's the platform that allows their revenue growth and their bringing on of additional companies. That data logic is being put into Aubrey SPAC, which trades on the NASDAQ for $11 right now, at a valuation of $114 million based on $10 a share. Logic is distributing its entire engine to Aubrey SPAC at $114 million prearranged. That deal has to get SEC approval. The SEC sent back comments, and I think somewhat unexpectedly, a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 10 of them, and they've answered them all. So the company expects that they're going to get an affirmative from the SEC shortly. Now this Aubrey SPAC data logic will be de-SPACed, a new word in the dictionary, de-SPACed. I don't know what the symbol will be. We'll use a 3-letter symbol. It's going to be de-SPACed. It's going to trade on the NASDAQ. And to your share interest, there's going to be a ratio. We don't know yet. But to your interest, that's about $1. It's about $1.15 a share. So this is going to be announced as approved by the SEC. The company can't do anything about it. Management can't do anything about it. Aubrey SPAC can't do anything about it. The SEC has to affirm that they've approved it. Once they do, this is going to happen. And this goes to 115. Now, there's shorts out there saying, well, hey, this is going to be a shell. Why don't we short logic? Because after they distribute data logic, we can buy the shell back for 5 cents. I think that's what's going on. I don't know how they get away from having to deliver data logic unless they buy back. But I think their theory is, we'll just sell logic down. It's going to be a shell. We can buy it back at 5 cents before anyone ever comes after us for the distribution of data logic. So it's reindeer games all over again. Last year, about the fourth quarter, Logic announced that Privco was going to acquire the shell, leaving shareholders with something like 15% of the company, which worked out to between 40 and 60 cents a share to you. Now, management let that deal lapse. They just said, we're going to let it go. Why? Because they obviously think they have better deals out there. They're screening dozens of deals. The one negative is there used to be There used to be 50 million shares out. Now there's 100 million. So this 40 to 60 cents would be 20 to 30 cents. So at using 20 to 30 cents, they let the Privco go. Why? Because they have a better deal. I don't know what it is. But just logically, why would you let one deal go? Obviously, you have a prettier girl to dance with. So I'm going to use 30 cents to 40 cents. So your one piece of paper, which is 25 cents right now, is going to be a new piece of paper trading on NASDAQ called Data Logic for $1.15, maybe more. There's deals. They're looking at lots of deals here to add in. Logic goes to acquire another private company, the other way around. The private company buys the shell. We as shareholders have a trading interest in a new co, maybe NASDAQ, but not right now, but it might get there. I think it'll be 30 to 40 cents or more. The shorts don't believe that. They're selling it. Let's call it 30 cents. So I would guess this week Logic's deal with Data Logic will be approved by the SEC. It's the second week of August. They answered all of the comments. I think it was the fourth round of comments. It might have been the fifth. So suddenly there'll be a 10-day, 2-week proxy period. If you go to Edgar, you can find the proxy already sitting there at the SEC, ready to go. So you're going to get a voting period to approve this. So your one share of Logic will be worth one new share of Data Logic at $1.15 and one new share of Newco worth more than 30 cents a share, I think. So $1.55. There are other deals lined up to add in here. There's other deals still lined up to add in here. The combined company, could be worth $8 in 12 months. But right now, the pressure on Logic is short selling, sales of shares which do not exist. Illegal sales of shares. Illegal. Selling it because they figure, well, the engine's going over here. We can sell it at 25 cents, 20 cents, and buy it back at 5 cents. I think they have a big surprise coming. That's what's going on with Logic. And I'm sorry, it's pretty much the same story. But I still expect that Logic will close, this whole transaction will close by the end of August. By the end of August. By the end of August. So within the next 3 weeks. But that's subject to change. As you know, that's always subject to change. Does there have to be a number of days above $5 before institutional buying comes in? Well, number one, $5 might not be the cutoff for most institutions. It's probably more a market cap issue, maybe 350, 500 million. Many institutions may have a break off at $10 or $7 or $8 or $9. But my guess is that an institution could buy it at $5. And then the question is, what happens if it falls below $5? Once bought, are they forced to sell it? My further guess is they would not be forced to sell it, but they couldn't buy anymore. But these are all internal rules they have. But it would seem to me that they're not going to force their desks or their mutual funds, their funds, to liquidate something arbitrarily because it gets under $5 a share. I mean, I think that's doesn't make sense. So I would think if that's the institutional cutoff, I think all it needs to be probably is above 5 when they're putting in the order. Now, many institutions, many funds operate by committee, and you're going to see votes and proposals and, groupthink. Some institutions are run by the strength of one person, has the authority. But yeah, I would say if $5 is the number, and it's not always the number, once it's above it, they probably can buy. Can they continue to buy if it goes below 5? I doubt it. And we can always ask Ham that question. Hey, not legal advice. Ham told me you had a good video, Time Life video. I haven't seen it yet, but it was all about Alpine and Alpine's transgressions, which is intriguing. Oh, I didn't plug in my microphone, so I probably my dulcet tones are being ruined. Let's see if it makes a difference. See, Tuck says it was a great video. So did Ham. So did Ham. Did I buy MMTLP? Yeah, I paid $7.86 for my MMTLP, and I am not able to send my MMTLP to AST. I tried to. For months, I've tried to. I'd say 4 months, maybe 5 months, and maybe longer. I can't remember. I'd have to check my records. But they're not letting me send it to AST. And my fallback is to ask for certificates. The negatives of asking for a paper certificate, is one. To me, there's at least 2 negatives. One is I think it'll absolve my brokerage firm of any legal obligation to me. And I'm reserving all rights, by the way. But it'll absolve it unless there's a settlement regarding pain and suffering or losing the short squeeze. Other than that, they will have fulfilled their obligation. So, and I think good lawyers may defend broker-dealers because there was such a short we would argue that the broker-dealer had no intention of settling the trade or of following up on a failed to deliver. But a clever lawyer is going to argue there wasn't time. And they'll probably win on that, I would think. So that's one risk, is missing out on a settlement. The second risk, which is kind of tied to that, if for some reason somebody at the SEC grows a pair of balls and enforces the rules and demands settlement, there could be trading or gray market that I miss out on if my shares are in transit or are in my own hands. The third negative of having paper certificates is, and the biggest one, is you're out of the system. The system is set up like an abattoir. It is set up so the shepherd can guide the sheep first up the the rolling elevator to the barn so they can be shorn of all their wool, and then the shepherd can lead the sheep to slaughter. And that's what the system is. It is all electronic now. If you have paper certificates, you simply will not be able to enter them into the electronic market soon enough to participate in any trading that happens on an ad hoc basis in MMTLP. Nor it should NextBridge start trading. There's no guarantee you'll ever get them in, because if you own 1,000 shares, it might cost you $2,000 or $3,000 to get a Shylock guy to take 60 days to determine that you're the legitimate holder. Then he's going to tell you, well, you got to sell it through my firm, and he's going to take another 20% off of a low bid. So it's a really dangerous way of holding certificates, because the system is greased so that you want to leave your shares in electronic form. What does that allow the system to do? Lie to you. It allows them to expand the number of shares represented in their account electronically beyond, by multiples that might be scary. Might be 100 times more shares out there. Might be 5 times. It might be 50 times. Nobody knows. But the system is set up so that Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Ken Griffin, and the rest of these fat cats can goose their returns so they can charge you fees. They can charge you for ETFs. Your broker can earn an asset management fee, as long as no one questions that on the statement is an entry that says what your shares are worth. They're all fake, but they're liquid. They're liquid. They're fake, but they're liquid. And as long as the system hums along, you're going to go through your emotions. You're going to sell them when they're low, and they're going to say caveat emptor, tough luck Charlie, as they count their shekels and their florin and their rubles and their dollars and their euros in their vaults around the world. So those are the negatives of holding physical shares. But I'm asking for that for mine. Why? Because I'm comfortable being in what will become for me essentially a private placement in what I think will be a thriving, excellent oil company, well managed, with really excellent prospects and high upside. Am I willing to wait? Yes. Am I willing to wait till they're bought out and my problem is solved because they're bought out, let's say by Chevron, and Chevron gives shares, and I'm sure I'll be given the option to have it electronically done. Remember, FINRA wanted the short position just put into NextBridge. And what would be ideal for FINRA is if Chevron came and bought NextBridge, then FINRA could just authorize by malfeasance the passing of the massive fake shares into Chevron itself. But Chevron won't care because Chevron stock will still be trading. Nobody, oh my gosh, nobody would do that. Now, come on, Bill. Who's going to allow brokerage firms to do that? In Europe, last year in Europe, one broker dealer last year had $27 trillion of failed to delivers. Mostly U.S. and Canadian stocks. And your brokerage firm did nothing to settle those trades. Why? Because it benefits Lloyd Blankfein at Goldman Sachs, Gary Gensler at Goldman Sachs, Hillary Clinton, who gets paid by Goldman Sachs, Janet Yellen, who gets paid by Goldman Sachs, congressmen and congresswomen who get paid by Goldman Sachs. Our country is run, like every country in the world, by Goldman Sachs. And if it doesn't scare you, I don't know what to tell you about it. The biggest financial scandal you've never heard about. Take a look below at the image which will help non-believers understand the scale of the problem. Please remember, this is just one of the clearinghouses in Europe, of which there are many. Settlement fails report for 2022. $27 trillion. One over 27.5 trillion in failing trades in Europe in 2022. Our economy has sprung a leak. As Joe Biden and Helicopter Ben pour trillions of dollars to goose our economy, it's going over to these criminals. And you've got to ask yourself, why would Congress acquiesce? Why would people go along with it? Why would politicians go along with it? Why would the SEC go along with it? Why would broker dealers go along with it? Because Goldman Sachs is making a bloody fortune. A bloody fortune. Gary Gensler is there to protect Goldman Sachs's fiefdom. That's it. And so when he's up there deflecting and pointing and, well, we'll do what the judge tells us to do, and hey, senior citizens, you better learn about investing. Go to our website. Or we have to go over to crypto because Kim Kardashian could mislead a generation of people on the risks of crypto. So we're going to fine her, and we're going to go after Lindsay Lohan. And the SEC is in charge of the world's deepest, most trusted, most transparent, and largest capital formation markets in the world, which is all horseshit. The SEC is there to allow Goldman Sachs to rob you. And then Ken Griffin helps out, Vision helps out, and when everyone goes after Sabi was 23 years old. He got a degree in economics. I got a degree in economics. It's all bullshit. Try to make a science out of economics. Savvy didn't come out knowing how to do this. Someone on Wall Street trained him how to do it. Someone on Wall Street trained the Kramers. Someone on Wall Street trained Jeff Easton. Why? $27 trillion. Do you guys hear it? That's with a T. 27 trillion with a T. 1% of that makes you a rich woman. 0.1%. 0.1%. That's why they're fighting you every step of the way. That's why they're saying, hey, you're crazy. MMTLP, it's you, it's not me. That's why they bring the dishonest professors and the shyster Jim Cramer down. And I'm realizing those two words have implications. I don't mean the bad implications. It's my vocabulary. I don't mean any human characteristic by those statements. But that's why. And that's why nothing will be done about this until there's a change in thinking, because not everyone's in on the game. Not everyone's criminal. I wouldn't do anything. If you paid me any part of that $27 trillion, I wouldn't take it. And I don't think I'm unique. But the world's run by people right now that will take it. I mean, I can't believe the president's son, Trump's son, basically blackmailed the Chinese for tens of millions of dollars. Who would do that? We're led by greedy groups. So anyway, I even forget the question. Well, economics is actually, it's a great degree in terms of thinking, and it really, you meet a lot of people. It's great for finance. The difficulty with economics is to take it to the next degree. It becomes all mathematical crap. All you need to know is economists assume that the world, that human ingenuity can replace oil. They're insane. They are insane. Now, I think by getting Biden, Hunter and Joe Biden in, we've cleaned up the White House. And it's a relief to me, because we had to get the corruption of Donald Trump and Eric and Donald Jr. out of the White House. I would not, Donna Miles, I got to think this through. I don't think I'd move MMTLP out of your IRA. You've implied that you're old enough. Donna, I think you're in a great position, and I'll be blunt, as a woman, as an older woman, at a brokerage firm, you're in a great position to win a settlement in arbitration. So I don't think I'd move my shares out of my IRA. For that, that's one reason. The other reason is, if there is a settlement, it could be huge. If you've taken it out of your IRA, you have to pay taxes on it. So I would leave it in my IRA. The taking it out of your IRA might get shares that you, in some scenario, one could argue the rest of us are never going to get fair value. But I think with Not Legal Advice, with Rosa, with Wes Christian, with Mark Bazile, and many, many other people working hard, I see that very low risk. So I would leave it in my IRA. And in fact, I have some in my IRA and I'm leaving it. Well, Aaron, I would love, if I ever had money, to set up a school or a department to study. And we don't have a lot of time, but Aaron, I'm convinced there was a worldwide civilization, whether it was alien or not, doesn't matter to me, prior to Noah's flood. There's a flood myth in every civilization, such that I believe the flood did happen. There's a guy, Graham Hancock, who has spent decades studying it, and there's many others. I believe the waters rose 400 or 500 feet in geologic time overnight, but it might have taken a few weeks, a few months, maybe 5 years, who knows how long. But it wiped out civilization that existed. I can't help believing that the pyramids are a power station or a magnifying of the Earth's electricity or its poles, its magnification, its iron, into energy. And sound. There's a guy named Michael, he's a great guy out of South Africa. But sound, I think there are, in other words, there's other energy out there. If there had been, and I believe there was, a huge civilization spanning the world that got destroyed, what energy did they use? They obviously didn't use oil and gas. Otherwise, it would be all gone. So I think there's other energies out there in the universe, and it's just a matter of putting physics to work. But that doesn't mean that at modern economics that we're going to find that answer under those assumptions. I mean, anyway. Dig me dig. I got a strike against me. So I follow the science and I listen to CNN and you know, if it's not on the front page of The View, if it's not discussed in The View or on the front page of the New York Times, I'm not allowed to comment. Now, oil and gas could be the remains. That's true. But no, I mean the exact opposite of what I'm saying. I'm being sarcastic. Well, I don't see how they're burial tombs. The other thing it makes sense to me, they might be a method of shutting out all noise and sound so that if you're in that one chamber, you could communicate over long, long distances. But I really tend to think it was there for power. Alpine got 36,000 strikes. And there were giants in those days. Well, Jeff Kendrick, there's a guy named Carlson and Graham Hancock who make a really compelling argument that the Grand Canyon and the rest of the water thoroughfares in the West didn't happen over eons, but happened in the span of maybe months or a handful of years, because comets might have hit the huge ice caps in Canada and North America, the United States too. And then as the water, it melted the ice, as the water built up, it broke through, much like, if we're building something at the beach. Do I think SEC will approve the next bridge, S1? Not quickly. And if I had to say yes or no, I think they'll find a reason to say no. But I love it. I think it's tremendous on the part of Greg McCabe, and it's a result of the work all of you that you guys have done. And there's a chance they'll say yes. I can't see the grounds by which they'd say no, but they're in trouble. MMTLP is not a one-off. MMTLP is a symptom of what is happening over the entire market. And if you want to talk leverage, speaking of pyramids, the market has become an upside-down pyramid. And it's all of this so-called wealth, all of this trading, all of this infrastructure, financial infrastructure, is all based on Grandma O'Leary's account. The only one that's real. Everything else is fake. It's pretty scary. Yeah, Ham's going to be on. I don't know. Free energy's in the air. Michael T. In the Bible, I don't know what it says in the Quran, but in the Bible it says, first there was the Word. And he makes a pretty good argument that the Word is sound. It's the voice of God, sound, and it's vibration. And so much of the world, the universe, is vibration. Que pasa? Hey, New Jersey. Tellinger. Let me see if I can find it. Someday, if we can just get through this. Nephilim and their offspring. Yeah, the whole idea of living forever or having our lives. Just booked a quick trip to DC. Does the S1 disallow Lynn to sell unlocated? No, doesn't. Nope. Lynn Partners may just be the face of people that pay them, but the people, Lynn Partners and associates at all, are selling shares that don't exist. They're breaking the rules. But no, that's not what the S1 says. The S1 is apparently under rule, I think, 477, because it was never effective, is automatically approved. But it says unless the SEC comes back to you within 15 days. So I think there's a little potential for a little lull in there while that 15-day period passes. El Condor pasa. So why does S1 even matter, let alone be huge? It's pretty big because I have it here if I can find it. It's pretty big for two reasons. One, it clearly states that to the world, if they care, that there are no shares available to cover the naked shorting. And it makes it pretty darn clear that the company isn't going to issue any shares to any fronts for the shorts trying to cover. That's really huge. The second thing is it makes it clear that the Lynn partners and Benchmark are no longer their investment bankers. So the presumption one can make is that Finger Motion is getting a brand new investment partner, investment bank. Why? Because they need capital to build out their rather robust, healthy, dynamic, winning business plan. And if one assumes that the company who hired Wes Christian and Sharon Tell to fight the criminals at the Lynn Partners, you assume the company now is well educated in what not to take on as financing. It's huge news. Absolutely huge news. I'd rather eat at an American diner than an Iraqi diner. That's great, Woody. I think that's great. Woody. What happens if AST fills up and then at FINRA gets MMTO trading on? Well, that's what everyone wants. I don't trust trading again, but everyone, I don't know why, everyone's, I think, somewhat upset with the system, but then they trust the system to set up 2 days of trading that are gonna be fair to you and me. I don't know. I don't trust it.
All right, William, you ready?
I'm ready. You've got a hepped up audience. They're hepped up.
I'm not hepped up, so I'm ready to go. Hold on. All right, everybody. It's Sunday night, the ham and cheese hour, we'll call it, I guess. And again, this is not to buy or sell. This is just to bring you up to speed on Security Fraud 101. And I hope everyone's having a good weekend. I like to get. I was always trained to be ready for Monday, even if it's just to speak and talk about something for 10 minutes. It just gets you ready for Monday. This is about real money, and it's not a joke. And I think everyone needs to understand that this is a real serious game, and professionals play hard, and they don't fool around. All right, so as long as you understand that, and we'll start with that. I just one thing I wanted to start out with this. I don't know the gentleman's name, but his handle on Twitter is RAW999. He does videos. I think he's an attorney. William, maybe you know the gentleman. You said
is that not legal advice?
Yes, I don't know his name. So he did a great job of going over Alpine and dissecting.
That's who it is. Yeah, he's great. He and Big JR or Little JR.
He did a wonderful job. I watched it 3 times, and each time I can't believe. Like, listen, I know Alpine scumbags. I'm not a penny stock guy. Everyone I talk to who's in the space all say the same
His
thing.
name, everyone's saying that his name is Richard. I wasn't going to tell you that, but since
Richard?
everyone knows it, his name is Richard Hoffman.
Okay, I didn't know. Okay, Richard, you did a great job, and I appreciate it. And I try to tell everyone, it takes all of us to win this battle. It's not just me, William, and Anna, and Lou, and Todd, all these other people. It takes everyone to be part of it. All right, so again, I appreciate it. And he did a great job. If you could just listen to see how awful, how the government allowed these guys to be in business one more minute, it's just amazing. Amazing. They should be hung. Forget taken right out in the back with a firing squad. That's what criminals they are. And they just laugh, go through life like it's no big deal. I just want to again, Richard, thank you very much. I didn't know your name, but I watch your videos and it's fantastic. And I try to tell people, you have to do a little homework. You can't cheat the whole way. All right, you got to understand a little bit what's going on here. Just for those who don't know, Alpine was the prime broker for the Kramers, who are the naked short sellers in GTII. We've written it, we posted it, we put their pictures up there 1,000 times. They're notorious, and by the way, I hear that another company is going to pay off the Kramers, and we'll see it soon. And the Kramers are getting trapped again on a small, shitty note.
Which company? Do you know which one?
I don't know. If I knew, I'd tell you. I don't know. When I hear about it, you'll know about it, and I'll tell you about it. That's all I heard. I heard that they're getting trapped again. That's it. That's all I know. And I could care less. I can't chase 1,000 stocks. Someone put up on Twitter a list of 15 stocks that the Reddit crowd, I think, is talking about, or whatever the hell it is, of short squeeze candidates. Beyond Meat, this one, that one, this one, that one, that one. Good luck. Go pick one. Knock yourself out. I don't know. Everyone's telling me, which one of these would you play? Again, if you don't study them, I don't know how you play them. I don't know nothing about all those names. So again, there's a list on there somewhere. Again, you have to. I'm not the type of guy. I used to be a fast money guy that would jump from stock to stock and just try to make myself whatever I could each day, and try to add it up each day and try to be a winner that way. But I don't do that anymore. I'm going big game hunting, as I call it. And I'm not here trying to scalp a quarter, and I'm here for the home run swings. I think the risk reward when you do your homework in the naked short selling game is very profitable if you do it right. If you caught GameStop, you did well. If you caught Bed Bath & Beyond, you did well. If you caught Overstock, you did great. I mean, there's been many. Don't get me wrong, there's been plenty of flops in the middle of it, okay? But if you let the good ones go and don't bail out too soon, you can do very well. So that's where I laid my hat. That's where I'm finishing my career in this space. And you know what? It may not take a week. It may take a year. It may take 2 years. I don't care. But I believe these are life-changing situations. Go find your own. If you don't take my advice, go take William's advice. Go find your own. Knock yourself out. I told you, there's 100 names a day that people are chasing down to look for a short squeeze. Good luck. I talked about. I forgot his name again. What is his name again?
Richard Hoffman.
Okay, I'm just writing it down.
He also goes by Not Legal Advice, KNOT, like Knots Landing, but not legal advice.
Well, okay, now I wrote it down, so I'll address him as Richard. I don't give a shit about his legal advice. I'm not a lawyer at all. I don't understand it at all. I don't understand how these guys continue. They're only doing it for one reason. There's got to be some sort of, they're running some sort of interference to buy some time. That's all I can think about. There's nothing else. I posted on Twitter yesterday. I was watching Netflix. There's a show called Heist, Heist. Each little episode is about a different crime, but in the end, they all get busted. They all robbed a Brinks truck. They robbed the airport. They robbed this, whatever. They were stealing whiskey. They all get caught, and then once one gets caught, they all rat on each other. And one of the episodes was, I guess the Colombians or Colombians or guys from Cuba robbed $7 million at the airport. And they made mistakes, and they all started to give each other up.
The Lufthansa heist?
No, it's like that, though. But they stole $7 million. But in the end, each one of them said they went to jail, and the money they stole was not worth losing 10 years of their life and their families. They lost their families, they lost their kids, everything. Over, $500,000 or $1 million that they were stealing. And they said jail, it just ruined their lives. 10 years of their life gone. Everyone thinks you live to 500 years old. Most people live to 70, 80. Losing 10 to 20% of your life here is, it's not worth it. Everyone thinks it is, but, where are you going to fly? In a private jet? Where are you going? How big a stake do you want? So for the Kramers, the Lynn partners, the thieves that we're chasing down, their life, they're enjoying it now because they stole the money and they're buying pocketbooks and Rolexes and driving fancy cars, hiding their names in their house under their father's name. Okay? We know one of the Kramers has his house under his father's name out in Long Island. So again, everybody digs through this stuff. They look at the end of the day, the FBI and DOJ, they're not stupid. They'll get them. They'll take their assets. They'll get RICO charges. It's just a matter of time when these things blow up. Remember, when people lose $1 billion, a lot of people go to jail. So again, I told you to watch that show. Take a look at it. It's easy to watch. It's maybe 40 minutes. And you can see what happens to the criminals once they start to rat on each other. They all go down. They all go to jail. So again, if you get a chance, take a look at that. William, I've been posting many different stories on public companies, from DaVita, DVA, to Etsy, ETSY, to DNDN, you name it. I can go down the line to EKSO, RWLK, GENR, GENE, Northwest Bio, CVM. Everyone, whether you like it or not, has been robbed by these guys over the years. Whether it's you're a young guy or a young girl, your parents were robbed, your cousin was robbed. They destroy everything. Okay, they deny you your medicine that you need. They somehow, somewhere, it affects you. You can think it's a joke, but again, I'm not speaking about one stock. I'm speaking about all stocks. So anything you can do to retweet or help out in any shape or form, like Richard, this gentleman Richard has taken upon himself to go out there and become an expert on Alpine, which I'm not. And I appreciated that he did that. Or Big JR was doing it also, or Big RJ, whatever. I forget which one he is.
Might be little JR.
Again, this is life-changing stuff that we're fighting here. We're here to change the system. We're fighting everyone. They've destroyed everything. Cancer treatments. Look at Celine Dion. All right, the other day I had to go to awake myself from someone who died of cancer. Within 10 days, they were gone. Diagnosed, dead, 10 days. Celine Dion has more money than all of us and more connections than everybody here. And she can't find a cure for what the hell she has, some neurological disease. Imagine if there was a small company working on that was shut down or was close to coming up whatever that medicine was for her. She would do anything to get that medicine. The SEC has turned a blind eye, and brokerage firms also have all looked the other way. Now, again, you can sit there and say, I don't give a shit. I'm here to make money. I could care less. Well, you know what? It's going to bite you on the ass sooner or later. It gets everybody. We all know someone who gets sick and needs some medicine. Where are we going to get it from? A witch doctor? Where are we getting medicine from? Who's going to save you? Your parents, your mother. My mom died of breast cancer. And I found a company that was working on a cure for breast cancer. It was too late for her. But I supported them. Because guess what? I have aunts, daughters. Everyone has someone that's a female, has breast, and worried about breast cancer. Okay, so I didn't stop my fight. I continued. All right? It's going to affect everyone here. So pick yourself up and just a crumb. Tell someone. Spread the word. All you can do. Retweet. Look at the people at MMTLP. They got all these people signing, and they demanding the SEC answer them. And I believe it's this week, William, the 11th. Am I correct?
The 11th. And they're up.
Okay, so
They're up to almost 7 billion with a B hits. 7 billion hits. That's
right,
amazing.
So here it is. This group of ragtag investors who knew nothing are now experts, and we should all thank them for what they've done. I can't thank them enough for what they've done for our cause, and they're helping everyone out. I feel bad that they got ripped off. I feel bad that they got locked up. Their money's all gone. I got it. But they decided to fight back, and now I strongly believe it's going to work in their favor. I can't tell you what day, but you have the SEC, you have FINRA, you have the regulators all trapped. Do not take your foot off their neck. Keep emailing. Step on their throats. Don't let them up for air. They're a disgrace that you have to fight for your own investment in the United States. Okay, it's a disgrace. I mean, this whole country's just falling apart. And you know what? If they can't settle a trade, good Lord, everything else, what else can happen here? It's just unbelievable. And it's been going on since 1988. I know it's going on earlier, but I use the Forbes article just so everyone gets a date they can reference to and have proof. It's an easy proof. It's right on the cover of Forbes, right there. Everyone can see it. William, do you have any questions?
Yeah. One guy asked earlier, if the stock goes over $5, does it have to stay over 5 for many days before institutions buy? And maybe you can just discuss the significance of when and how institutions buy.
They're buying already. Don't get concerned about that. That's nonsense.
Okay.
Just go look at the institutions that are in Best Bath and Beyond. They're still there. The stock's 30 cents, 20 cents. You know, they buy stocks. Listen, there's some parameters for some of these funds, but not all of them, and they're buying. Don't concern yourself with that.
All right, and then I'll quickly say that I know people don't want to hear what I think necessarily, but I think if you know a stock, if you have knowledge of a situation, that gives you the strength and courage to ride out the inevitable bear attacks. If you're in stocks that you don't know anything about, you're subject to being tricked by bear attacks.
Well, again, I was out Friday, and when I got back into my car, my phone had 100 messages. Where are you? They're attacking. It doesn't make a difference. They're dead. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen. All right? It's just a matter of when. I have a shareholder through a friend who's supposedly going to call me in a few minutes, and I want him to give you what he's hearing and let it hear from his mouth, not mine. I have no concerns. I believe they're going to get run over. It's just a matter of when. I don't know the day, but it's coming. They can manipulate it all they want. The stock everyone knows the game. It's loaded, ready to go. And like I said, GTII is right behind it. That's where I'm going next. And that's my 1-2 punch. So again, where are they going? The company's fully financed. The company doesn't need any money. The only way out is up, and I'm not concerned about it. And I believe in the company. I always have. And I thought this would be a retirement stock for me before I walked into this shit show of naked short selling and Lynn Partners. So now I have to sit here, and they're not destroying my family's wealth over these creatures. It's not happening. I'm ready to go get some of those illegal immigrants and park them all in front of their office this week and give them signs with their faces on it and walk them back and forth and hire them myself. That's how much I can't stand them. Wait for them to come outside and then tell me to my face. Let's see what he's got to say. But that's how pissed off I am about these guys. And I'm not going away until they're in jail. I'm not going away. I know the money trail is going to lead back to them. It always does. Everything that's done in this game is tied to a debenture. All right? No one is going to kamikaze themselves shorting all these shares versus nothing. They're doing it for a reason because they had a debenture. Now they tried to protect their investment when the debenture was paid off, and now they're exposed. Now they have a big problem, and we all know about it. Told you before, education. Educate yourself about this fraud, and that's how you can change your life. Now, there's people trading it in between here. There's no question there's people trading between the cracks. All right, I know it. People buying it, flipping it. Again, when you buy it and you sell it as an investor, you can only sell it one time. All right, so good luck. Do what you have to do with that. You remember, when you're flipping these things, you get short-term capital gains. You lose, your tax. That's your business. I'm not going to tell you how to trade and do what you have to do. But again, I made foolish trades like that my whole life, and you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. So that's how I feel about it. Yeah, William.
You're going to love this one. But hey, I'm just asking. Does Ham know information he can't tell us, which gives him confidence in finger squeezing?
I've studied this stock for 4.5 years. Every day for 4.5 years. For those who just arrived a year ago or 6 months or 3 months, if you studied something for that long, you know everything that's going on. I listened to the CEO. I've met the CEO. I went to conferences. I've seen him. And the gentlemen, I know people that funded the company. And, I have no fear because I know it's all in the right direction. They're in the biggest market in the world. They have the biggest partners in the world. Okay? And when the time comes and it blows up and it rips, I've been waiting for it. That's the way it goes. I wish I had some information because I've been awful at it, right? Every time it goes up, they beat it down. Where's the information? I've been pretty bad at it, right?
I didn't say that again. One gentleman's asking if he were to invest $100,000 in Finger, wouldn't it move the price since the float is so low?
If I have people that put much more money than he just spoke about, and the stock moved down. I know one group bought 2 million shares in the last 2 weeks, and we're basically up from 4, down from 6, and down to 5.25, whatever it is, 5.20, and that's 2 million shares of buying with no float. 2 million shares. Forget the 30,000 options, the call options that were bought. Where's all the stock coming from? It's endless. Does anyone see? It's like a waterfall here. It just keeps.
And there's no stock available.
There is no stock. It's all make believe. The whole thing is make believe.
So, are we close?
Yes. How's that? Confident?
Sounds confident.
I'll be like that Bruce Willis movie.
Yippee-ki-yay?
I see dead people. I forget the kid's name.
6th Sense or something?
Yes, that's it. I see dead people. That's what I see. I see dead short sellers very soon. All right? Everything is...
Metaphysically. Financially. Not...
Yeah, financially, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that MMTLP is just going to explode the naked short selling game. I think everyone knows that they made a huge mistake stopping trading the stock and tried to cover up for the shorts in this thing. They're going to get exposed. Anna and the group of people that went to D.C., our friend Lou from Brooklyn and everyone else. I'm blank on everybody's names for a second, but everyone who's helped out again is just been fantastic. And look where everyone thought they were dead and nothing was going to happen, and now look how it's turned on a dime. Okay, now I don't think the politicians understand how big this mess is and how it's a political hand grenade and who's going to jump on it. But I think Gary Gensler's got a huge problem trying to explain this. I could see him in his letter saying, well, we can't talk about investigations, that whole nonsense. They always use that same line all the time. We're in the law enforcement business and we can't talk about it, investigations. Well, look at that guy, Savvy. Oh, here's our short seller. Hold on 1 second. Our short seller. Here's our shareholder. Hold on. All right, everyone, I got a shareholder. I don't control. I know nothing about his information, but let's let him tell his story about what he feels and what he believes is happening. So go ahead, Mr. X, go.
All right, well, in my opinion, the risk reward here is off the fucking charts. I'm hearing major firms are buying the stock. They are buying this because they're hearing the rumor is the biggest Chinese players are coming into the name. So do what you want. I'm buying it. My friends are buying it. I really don't give a shit what anyone else does, but that's what's happening.
Well, I just want to confirm with you, I've been hearing the Chinese names are coming. The Chinese players are coming also. I've been hearing it out of Hong Kong. So I have no concerns. I believe they are coming. Again, I've met with Chinese groups, and I don't control them. I just pitch them on it. I don't even know their names, but I do agree that this game's going to get super interesting. I just don't know the day. Again, I have no idea. But
the Chinese stocks are squeezing all over the place, and I hear it's going to continue. And the one that just IPO'd last week, I can't remember, starts with a P. I bought it at 4 and sold out at 6. It went to like almost 9 and back down. It's happening nonstop. So, but Finger, we know, has a legit business. So, I mean, I've been buying calls. All my friends have been buying, and we're just waiting.
Listen, can I ask you a question? Are you hearing this from New York or a foreign country? Where do you think you're hearing your stories from?
No, it's my buddies in New York. I don't know any foreigners.
Okay.
It's guys on the street. It's guys on the street, and these are brokers. I mean, small brokers, but they're, they have contacts with major firms. So that's where I'm hearing from.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Let me get back to what we're doing. If you just hang up, it'd be great.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Are we here, William?
That's awesome. Yeah, we're here.
All right. So you're hearing, again, I've been pretty out loud that I actually met with, groups of investors, and I pitched the story to everyone. If I bumped into the group again, I couldn't tell you who they were, what their names were, but I sat in front of large amounts of groups of people, told them the story. I brought the documentation, I brought the proof, and I showed everybody. Whether they step and what they do, that's not up to me. I don't control it. I won't stop telling the story. I tell it every day. Okay? On the pickleball court, I have people buying in the middle of the game, I'm pitching the stock. So, again, this is something I believe, that I'm not ashamed. I tell everybody the story. I believe in what I know. I've been doing this for a long time. And if they have something better, tell me. No one's ever come back with anything better. They all got these crazy names, but no one has any information. I think that we put together, for example, like Richard Hoffman, who just picked up and is now my expert on Alpine. I mean, what more can I ask for? I don't have to call Wes Christian. I don't call Mark Bazile to ask him what's going on. And I just clicked on it, and it was Richard putting up a great video. All right, it's better than Ace with that 49 hat. I still can't stand that hat. But anyway, or Dozer with his LSU. Just so you know, people, we're getting close to the Florida State LSU game. The closer we get to the game, the crazier I get. So I'm ready to rip everybody up, and let's get this over with. So, go ahead. Any questions?
Yeah, there's
just so you know, everyone, I tried to get Wes Christian. I reached out to Charlie Payne. I reached out to a few people to come on board. I had I have a guy who's a 40-year vet, stock loan guy. It's the summer, people with their families. I tried everything to get people to come on. I feel like a radio host trying to get people to come on my TV show, whatever. It's not easy, but I will get them. And, again, I communicate to very, very solid people. Like it's just tell you, people you can't reach, I can get to. So, go ahead, William.
There's been a few questions on the S1 confusion. Remember, not everyone is as versed in finance as you are, but the S1, which indicated, or was it a 8K? Now I'm confused. But anyway, it indicated that Finger had asked for their registration statement to be withdrawn as it pertained to Lynn Partners shares being available under the note. It was the letter. I don't have it here in front of me. I can try to find it. They just announced it on the 1st. That
So what that means is that the company has no active registration statement now. If Lynn Partners called up and says, "Hey, we'll give you $50 a share right now," the company can't do anything about it.
right.
They can't create shares fast enough. There's no active registration.
So is that
statements.
good?
That is outstanding. That is the company protecting the shareholders right there.
And if the company were to seek additional financing, they'd have to put another S1 out. But
Correct.
do you think they'll ever make the mistake of
No.
signing up with these highway
no,
bandits?
No.
Exactly. So it's all good.
Believe me, I have screamed through every channel I get that, they're hearing me scream in Shanghai. Trust me. I had no idea that that these guys met with, Benchmark, and Benchmark gave them to Lynn, and they did this deal. And I had no idea. I never heard of it. And all of a sudden it was on the tape. I didn't even know who Lynn was. I had no idea who Lynn was. For example, I never had an idea who the Kramers were. I don't know who Yorkville is, or these other, all these lowlifes, or Sabby, that fat bastard. I always got to call him that. These guys, they're just criminals. That's it.
Yep, they're cockroaches. Could it be that the shorts are just continuing to do this, hoping for some event which will save them, like the market crash and a wipeout? This has been asked a couple of times.
Well, again, if you were them, what would you do? I would do the same thing, right?
Well,
Until they come with the cane and pull you off the stage, right? You keep trying to do it, right? Listen, I look at these short sellers, whether they're Kramers or Lynn Partners, they're kamikaze pilots. They got fuel to go one way, and they can't stop. They went past that line already. They can't turn around. This is all they can do is go one way. And you know what? It's going to turn, and they're going to run out of gas. They're going to get shut down. Someone in their organization is going to get a subpoena. We got West Christian going behind the scenes trying to sue them. The stocks have a completely different look. We still see manipulation, but it's very different from a year ago. Trust me. If you haven't been here for a long time, this is very different. These guys were killing the stock down to 60 cents.
yeah.
They can't do it anymore.
There's one guy here that is just harping over and over and over again about trading Finger like it's IBM, or looking at GTII instead of Finger. I think he's obviously in here to get people nervous about Finger, and to me it's an indication that Finger's about to go up. But that's just my read.
I don't know what the hell he's yapping about. But if you buy Finger on the dips and sell it on the rips, he does very well. Obviously, his intentions are he's trying to, obviously, he's a short, tied to a short. So you understand, all these day trading firms allow these guys, you can go put $25,000 up, and they'll let you naked short all day long. All right? You are taking away the livelihood of all these guys like Timothy Sykes and all these guys that work at these firms. They cannot trade their way out of a paper bag. All they do is work as a pack of animals. They work together, a pack of wolves, and they attack at the same time. These are premeditated attacks. They all hit the sell button at the same time, and hopefully they can short 5,000 shares, drive it down $1, and make themselves 75 cents, make $3,500, and they all give each other a high five, and that's what they do. That's the day trading firm. You're taking away their livelihoods. Those are the people that are posting on Twitter all day trying to bash people because that's their livelihood. All right? The Kramers, they know that they got the feds on them. They're not posting here. Lynn is a very different character. I've been here for a long time in Finger Motion. Where are the bashers? I don't see them. Where are they? And GTII, we had them because the Kramers are lowlifes. That's a different game. All right. The Lynn Partners is a Madison Avenue firm. Okay. And they're going to take their beating just like the guy from, what's his name, in GameStop. I'm blank on his name now. Again. But he took his beating. He lost $9 billion, and that's it. That's how it goes. If they don't have the money, Lynn will jump in front of a train like the guy in Germany did on the VW short squeeze. That's what happens.
So, is there dark pool trading going on with Finger?
Yes.
And
I post the data. Dozer on Twitter posts the data every day at 5:30. Thank you very much. He does that every day for us. And in the morning, I get Tom Ronks from Buy-in's list, and you can see the discrepancy. Those are all the dark pool trades. You can see the difference in the volume.
how long can these shorts hold on?
They do it for a long time. I told you that a long time ago. That's, you can't break them overnight. It's not easy. But when they fold, I do think that the environment is very dangerous for the short sellers right now. You got the DOJ. I told you, once they arrest one, they're all going to run. You saw Savvy, that's what they're all like. You see the pictures of the Kramers. You see Lynn Partners. These are not guys standing on the corner with sticks and bats and guns. They're not that type of guys. Once one of them goes to jail, they're all going to start stooling on it, all going to rat each other out. They always do. That's why I told you to watch the show Heist. You can actually see criminals, guys who carry guns, okay, murderers, and they all ratted each other out. And they went to jail for years.
So, apparently this guy, Goodwill Trading, is a good guy, but could you explain why in Finger you're not here for 50 cents or 75 cents? You're here for something else, aren't you?
Well, we've been here. The stock went from 60 cents to $10.
Right.
They drove it back down, and we're still here. We went back to 7. They pushed it back to 5, and we're still here. If this was a pump and dump, or if this was something that we wanted to do for a trade, we wouldn't be wasting our time on Sunday night talking to anyone here. I'd be gone already. All right? That's the difference. If you don't understand that by now, then I don't know what to tell you.
Many questions on MMAT. Can it squeeze? Do you know anything about it?
I'm not. I don't understand 90% of what's going on. I just don't have the time to follow it. I know John Berta very well. I know that, I know what's happened, but I don't understand the relationship, the money, I'm just following the MMTLP part of it, and I'm not on top of the other part.
Are there any hedge funds on Wall Street who look to break the shorts to take the opposite position?
I think you just heard that.
Okay. So no.
If you missed that part of the conversation, maybe 14 minutes ago, they're coming. Okay? I just don't know when. Remember, accumulation always leads to higher prices, right? So if you're a big hedge fund, you don't need to drive it up. They keep sucking it in, keep buying it on their terms. They're not here to help anyone here. They're here to help themselves. Remember that.
One gentleman mentioned that he had August calls and he froze selling them, so they've ridden back down. Maybe you can talk a little bit about how you scale out of your options.
Well, it's tough to say. I'm not the type of guy that's going to sit there and tell you, hey, when the stocks go up, you can take advantage of an option trades like a stock. So if you bought a stock at 5 and it runs to 6, you can sell it, make 50 cents. You can make $1 depending on what calls you bought. If you bought something out of the money, basically you're sitting here. If you bought an 8, 9, 10, 11, $12 option, you're here for an event. Okay? That's not a tradable option unless the stock continues. All right? That's for an event. And you say, what's an event? Well, I told you a story about I forget how many shares. I can't remember. We owned calls, stock. in a company called Allegiance back in the day in 1987. I think we owned 3 million shares of options and a combination of stock and options. And we were there for an event. We didn't know what the event was, but we were told to own it. And we owned 3 million shares, and we waited 2 months. Nothing happened. My brother, we were running the fund, and he decided to sell it out. 3 days later, it went from $95 to $327. That was the event. We missed it. That's life. That's how it goes. So if we had calls that were basically going nowhere, cheap calls, we would have made a fortune. But we were playing since we were running deep. We had a lot of money. We bought in the money calls. So in the money calls was like trading stock. So that's a little different. If we had bought the 110 calls at the time, that were basically, we paid $1 for them and they were 10 cents. We never would have sold them and we would have made a home run. But instead we were buying the 95 calls at $3 and that's considered like buying stock. So it was very different trading options in that stock at that time. But I'm always a garbage option player. I like to trade out of the money calls. I like to, if you did that in GameStop, you're no longer working. Okay, that's how much money you would have made on out of the money calls. So I'm a firm believer in using small money to make big money. So if you bought a call, I'll give you the opposite side. If you bought a call at 25 cents and you bought 50 of them, say for $1,250, and they go to 50 cents, you know what? I'm a firm believer in that. Hey, you know what? I'll sell 25 of them at 50 cents, and I'll make 25 cents. And now I own 25 calls for free. And whatever happens at the end of August, I could care less. Now, we still have 2 weeks in August left. So I used to buy options on the Friday they expire. You can still trade options on Friday when they expire because all the premium is out of the options. And that's why a lot of short sellers get nervous. My brother told me one time, on the American Stock Exchange, there used to be a group of traders that used to go around and sell calls to open on Wednesday before option expiration at 25 cents, at 15 cents, at 12 cents. And they used to take in the money, the premium, and say, oh, these stocks will never go anywhere by Friday. Well, all it took was one. I think it was Gulf and Weston, I'm not sure. And he said that they came down. They were selling calls, let's say the stock was 50. They sold the 55 calls, and the stock got taken over 100 on Friday. I think he said 5 or 6
by
guys.
Texaco, I think.
They came down, and they basically come down, and they pulled all 5 traders off the floor. They lost everything, and they were sued by the exchange. They lost their houses, everything, because they were short and didn't have the money, and they got blown out. So they were trying to steal every month $5,000 and $10,000 and selling calls to open. And at one time, all it takes is one time, and they all went bust. So it's very dangerous on the short side. And again, I'm a buyer in cheap options. I'm not a seller. I would never sell them. But again, you can trade these things up to next Friday. Maybe you got 2 weeks to go.
What do you see for price action in Finger this week? One of your fans is asking you.
I never pray for money. I pray for health. And it's hard for me to tell you, listen, when you get people controlling the game just by hitting a sell button, it's hard for me to predict anything. I do believe that we're going to get that rocket. I do believe that. But that's my opinion. Take it with a grain of salt. I believed it at 6. I believed it at 7, and here they are pushing it at 5 again. Okay, I do believe that MMTLP this week, when they get the letter back from the SEC, I think that's going to supercharge names that have got the big exposure in naked shorts. I do believe finger motion will be a huge benefit to it. I think GTII is going to. I think that when they get these letters back from the SEC. I think that any positive motion from the SEC to expose and actually stand up and tell everyone what's going on, that you're going to get rockets in these names. And I do believe the DOJ is going to arrest people.
You've had several questions about your thoughts on MMTLP, and a lot of people are calling out to thank Anna and
Yes.
and speak of Anna. Maybe you can join in.
Oh no, she's wonderful. I had the pleasure of meeting her. She's fearless. She's done a tremendous job, and I've always told her, take a step back, work behind the scenes, take care of your family. This is a battle. This is for people with tough skin. I've been doing this 23 years. I've been threatened 4 times. I had people at my house. I had DEA agents with guns at my house. I've been threatened by Russian mafia. You name it, I've seen it. Okay, so again, you need thick skin in this game. I'm here because I have family and I have to protect whatever I have to. Like I said, I can't go away. I'm here to the end. So we're here. But she's fantastic, and look what she's done. She created this little assault on DC, and she's taken it to a level that no one's ever done before.
Yep. You'll have to introduce her to Patrick Byrne. Let's see. One gentleman with a great name is asking, how could it be that the CEO of Jeffries is selling almost 220 million shares so far, dollars, I guess, worth of shares of Jeffrey so far, and they're not in trouble? I don't know. I guess a lot of people are asking about Jeffrey puts.
I told you I wouldn't buy him until finger is ripping. When finger's going, we all do the same thing. We're all going to watch the water boil, right? We're all watching the water boil. So what you're supposed to do on Wall Street, when finger starts breaking through 20, you sit there, instead of cheering on your position, say, boy, what can I do? Write it on your wall next to your desk. What can I do when finger starts running to make more money? Well, who's going to get killed out of this? It's going to be Jeffries. That's when you buy the puts. I'm trying to get you to think as it's going. You can't do it now because you have to see. We want to see the blood first. All right, we want to know that Jeffries is bleeding. That's when you buy the puts.
Romeo is bleeding.
And you can sit there and you say, boy, that's pretty crazy, and you think like that. Well, if we did that in Credit Suisse, I said it many times before Credit Suisse went bankrupt. I said, these guys are losing not one, they're losing $5-6 billion to fraud. No one can take these hits. These are massive, massive, massive hits. And what happened? A couple months later, Credit Suisse was gone.
Someone was asking either about Credit Suisse or somebody, but it was so complicated. Now I can't get it, but at least you talked about it a little bit. Several questions again on DBMM.
Like the CEO, if I was starting a public company, she'd be the first person I go. She is wonderful. She understands it. She's meticulous. And she has somehow trapped the Kramers going back years. I just don't understand the structure of the company. I've never put any energy into it. I'm not a 001 penny stock. I don't even know who would sell stock at 001, whatever the hell it is. So it's over my, it's out of my, that's not my game. So I don't know. But she's excellent. I don't know how she's stuck in there, but she's stuck.
There's a company, BS, Boy Sam Frank Charlie, that just paid off Lynn's toxic loan.
What's the civil on it? Say it again. I'm writing it down.
It's Barry, Susan, Frank, Charlie, or Boy, whatever. Susan, Frank, Charlie.
Boy Sam Frank Charlie.
Yeah. I don't know.
Right. Well, I don't know. Again, Lynn Partners. You gotta read the details of what they did. So be careful. I have to read it.
Oh, here's what he said: Swiss National Bank guaranteeing massive liquidity for UBS while UBS will try to close out Credit Suisse non-core obligation. They take all the money without paying taxes, and then the taxpayer has to eat the losses. It's incredible.
It's the whole thing is incredible that your own brokerage firm does not call for delivery and these shares stay unsettled. Again, if we were suing and we had deep pockets, I would go after the auditors because when you do a trade, their job is to actually, when they execute your trade, your brokerage firm, the second part of that is the settlement part. If they never settled, they never earned a commission. So all that money let's use it now. So if Goldman is selling your order flow to Citadel is paying Goldman for the order flow, right? That means Goldman has never earned that commission from Citadel because they never settled the trades.
That's the angle. That's what they did when Enron went down. They went after Price Waterhouse, was it? PwC? I can't remember. It used to be the big six accounting firms, and now I think it's the big four.
That's what I was told a long time ago by a major accountant who worked at one of those places, and she told me that. But where am I supposed to go? I'm not the richest. I'm not Bill Gates, so they ain't happening.
Yeah, one guy's saying, let's create counterfeits in Goldman Sachs. It'll happen, believe it or not. They'll take Goldman down one day, too. But not yet.
Well, listen, again, my job, or I would love to do, is when finger motion goes, I'm going to tell the world if I put in Jeffries at the right time. Again, you guys all know it's got to go past 20 for me to see at that point, Jeffries is bleeding like a pig. All right? When that thing starts screaming like that, someone is taking a beating, and Lynn Partners cannot support that type. Remember, if they have $200 million to their name, every dollar up is a $160 million loss. It's not going to last too long.
This question comes up in different forms. I think I might have already asked it. How long can they keep this up? How long can they keep up this charade?
Well, for everyone on this phone call, I think you guys teamed up with the right characters here. All right? The people I know are super smart, and we know what we're doing. William joined the team 3 years ago when he understood, and we educated him about it at GTII. And I think he's an expert now, and he knows that there's some serious money behind us. And, I know a group that has access to $50 billion, and they're behind us. And I think that we're all here to knock these guys out. And I think that you guys are you guys have this is a tight-knit team. It's not just me yapping on the phone to you guys. It's some serious people around here, and we all speak, and we come up with ideas. Again, we can't move fast. We're not the public company. Again, the public company is, we don't control it. They do what they have to do. But we have ideas, and we sort of convey it back to the channels to get it back to them. And we speak to, I know Wes Christian for 20 years. So when we have something, or Mark Bazile, which I think Mark Bazile, if anyone who doesn't know, any company that has a toxic loan, they need to contact Mark Bazile, and he can help the companies get rid of the toxic loan guys and get compensated. He's just a breath of fresh air, and is a guy that I would go to battle with every day. He thinks just like us. So again, there's some smart-ass people around here now. I've been doing this for 23 years, and the only voice we had was Patrick Byrne. And if you listen to Patrick Byrne, who is the greatest guy in the world, he is very difficult to figure out where his next move is. He's all over the place. He's not easy. He's super smart, and he's light years ahead of all of us. But I only know one thing, and I put the picture of the Civil War for a reason. I only know how to do is charge one way. I don't go backwards. And that's how I play. Patrick Byrne will torture them going backwards, forwards. He's all over the place. He believes in the system, and he'll break the system in due time. I don't believe in anything, and I don't believe in wasting one more minute doing this stuff. If I can go out there and get a kamikaze to go back at these guys, I'm going to go find them. And I do believe that we have our own new army coming in, and we're going to trample them. That's how I look at it. And I don't care who's standing on their side. They can go get Stevie Cohen for all I care. But we're going to get them.
What happens to the short positions when a company goes bankrupt? Do they hang out there indefinitely? Does the short have to...
You can see what's going on. Tupperware, RAD, all these companies that they're trying to push them into bankruptcy, all of a sudden get a sign of life. That tells you that the shorts are killing each other. If you think about it, and these small caps, in big caps, whatever stocks they are, Tupperware went from nothing recently to 6, and RAD, and Bed Bath & Beyond, they all had massive squeezes. Those are the shorts killing each other. The shorts try to start covering. They're crowded shorts, as we call it. And another way of looking at it, just remember in Africa, when the water dries up, all the alligators are on top of each other, right? That's what it looks like. All these shorts are on top of each other. And once they start panicking, that's when you start seeing them all start snapping at each other. All right? It's the same thing. The shorts panic. It's a crowded short. They're all in the same goddamn puddle. And then when they start panicking, that's when these things explode. Those are the shorts on top of the shorts. Unfortunately, we only have Lynn Partners and Finger and the Kramers. We don't have multiple shorts. I do believe we have a bunch of small shorts in Finger Motion now. Okay, I don't believe we have 50 shorts in here. I think we have Lynn Partners and a couple of guys like Timmy Sykes and his little crew.
Someone's asked about gamma squeeze, but you might have already talked about that.
The options, as they start to break through the strikes, these guys are selling the calls and they're shorting the stock. I think I pointed out they're short as many ways as possible. There's not much more they can do. There's not many more avenues here.
I think that's all the questions, unless somebody has someone there. Since the price dropped Friday by more than 10%, I don't know what that means. There was one other question that
Listen, all I can tell you is this: if you're reading the information, you see what's going on here. Everyone's rowing the boat the same direction. We burned our boats. We're not going away. Okay, this is the front line. We've been here for years. If it was a pump and dump, there'd be no voice here. Instead, you got Tokyo Rose here. We're still talking. All right? We're not going away. That tells you we're not here for $1. You can be here for $1. You do whatever you like. It's your family. It's your money. Protect your ass. I'm the first guy to tell you to do that every time. But if you want education on how to enhance your portfolio or try to learn how to turn a small profit into a big one, we'll be glad to help you based on our history and learning how to do it. We've done it before. So any questions on how to roll up options, how to move from one option to the next, what's the value? You got to remember, options trade. Options sometimes have a stock cannot move, and the option can move up and down 50 cents because there's buyers of options at one point, and the stock doesn't move yet. So you got to always be on your toes. You can trade options for a nickel. You can trade options for a dime. If I buy 100 at $1, they go 110 bid. Why not sell 20 of them at $1, then bid one back again? And have 80.
Right.
And this way, now I own. I reduce my cost by 3 pennies, or whatever it is, on all of them.
Right.
You can do that all day long. You become the market maker. There's no fear. You can do. If you bought 2 of them, you sell one. You lower your cost. That's how you do it. People trade stock. People are trading finger motion. So I'm sure there's plenty of people on the phone. Oh, I bought 2,000. I ran up. I sold 2,000. I'm trying to buy it back. And I will tell you this. It's impossible. And get it through your thick heads, everyone. And I'm not insulting anybody. It's impossible to put a chart to security fraud. It's impossible. So please stop bringing up that guy, whatever his name is, Archer, whatever his name is, with his charts. I don't really give a shit. It's impossible to chart. He can sit there and say, it hit my point, it did this point, it did that point. He's full of shit. It doesn't mean anything. He's a great chartist. I watched this video, very technical. Go chart Apple. Let me see how good you do in Apple, and then come back to me. Because charting security fraud, where the naked shorts are using his support and resistance as way to attack the stock, and he's using it against you. That's all I'm going to tell you. That's what I see. Okay? They're manipulating the stock using the charts. So please, you cannot chart security fraud. I don't give a shit how good he is. Go chart Apple. Come back and show me that you made 20 good plays in Apple with your chart play. Let me see you do it there. Post that all day. Posting on finger motion to get looks means nothing to me. You cannot chart security fraud. So get it through your thick heads. Next. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go take my pot gummy in 45 minutes. And hopefully I'll be in La La Land by 11:30.
We'll have another call in 2 hours then. No.
You don't want to hear me talk after taking that. Anyway, listen, have
All
a
right.
great night.
Thanks, Ham.
We'll
Everyone
text you in the
appreciates it very much. Tomorrow's
No
going to
problem.
be a great day. Okay.
Thank you. Have a great night.
All right. Let's see what time it is. Well, I could sign off in 2 minutes at 9 o'clock or see what you guys want, but I'm kind of tired. It's impossible to tell a baby not to cry. It's just impossible. So, all right. So it's all thank yous, no questions. I think that was a good call. And perhaps we can end it for tonight, because tomorrow's a bank holiday in Canada. Wow, enjoy it. And I'll just join in with telling everyone what great work Anna has done. I hope she's not feeling the pressure or the heat right now. So if people can buck her up. There's many others that have worked hard too. Some don't want their name out there, but many others, and they all deserve appreciation and even your prayers. God will know who they are. You can just do it in general. All right, so I appreciate everyone, and thank you, Goodwill Hunting, No Banks and Brokers, Civic holiday for Hondas. Who has a holiday for a Honda? 3 a.m. in Berlin. Wow. All right. Where's my Honda? Who's Zed? Zed's dead, baby. All right. I'm going to say goodnight. Peace to everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I think it's going to be tough with just 2 weeks to go in August, but don't be surprised. It doesn't take much for this stock to be up $8, $9, $10. It won't take much. Wow. Eiffel, Germany. Look what they've done to my boy. Look what they've done to my boy. They murdered my son. All right. I'm just Vocal. There's not much to say on Vocal. My understanding is he's trying to raise $5 million. I don't know what valuation he's doing at, Alex. If he came to me when I was in London raising money with my friends, I don't think he'd get away from selling half of his company for $5 million. I mean, that's just how tough it is. But he's got a good story. I think he's fighting the good fight. I don't think he wants to take any more toxic loans. We'll see. I'm going to try to reach out to him and see what we can do to help him. Well, I think I don't see much for COSM, but I'm going to try to reach out to Jeremy and see what's happening. Well, Fritz, it's okay. It's good tact. It's good tact. I don't know about much. Bonsoir. I don't know much about history. GNS. I don't know much about GNS. I always felt there was a drum major aspect to that. Like with a lot of companies. Oh, let's get in front, raise some money, and then, a lot of wham, bam, thank you, ma'am going on there. But I don't know the guy. Yeah, I think it's a good decision. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with acting. Well, they ran it on a FOMO, and then they shorted off down, and some people have to just learn by getting hit upside the head with a 2x4. Others remember when the nuns did it to them. And they had learned to avoid the situation. Where do you find the Alpine video? Let me see if I can find it. I mean, I'll tell you what I think it is, but I think this is it. I think this is it.
Notice I have a new mic. Like, subscribe. Not legal advice. Please send millions of dollars if you so choose. I will accept it, but no obligation. But most importantly, remember, watch this with your dogs. They really enjoy these videos. And speaking of that, a dung beetle walks in.
I'm not going to make you listen to the joke. Because then you would have to laugh. And in front of everyone, you might not be very convincing. Yeah, I have August calls on Finger Giannis. Not that it's anybody's business. Do I feel good about it? Not necessarily. But I think what's going on with Finger, maybe I didn't print it out. I thought I did. But the S1, let me see if I can find it for you all, that everyone's confused by, like it's Drummer. But it's not Drummer. It's not your mommer's Drummer. It's really good. There it is. And maybe I didn't print it out. Finger motion. Pursuant. I'll just read it. Darn it. The train only fully crosses the bridge as soon as the caboose gets across. pursuant to Rule 477 under the Securities Act, Finger requests the SEC consent to the withdrawal on August 1 of the S1 initially filed on September 8th, 2022, and that was for Lind. So that means all those shares are not available to sell. It's great. No dilution, no reverse splits. The registration was never declared effective. I looked up the rule. That means this automatically is approved. But the rule also said, unless the SEC tells you differently within 15 days. So there's a small chance the SEC will do something egregious. But this is automatic because the S1 was never effective. Why is it good? This means, without saying it, that Finger has fired, has expelled, has said sayonara, or that's Japanese, said quieten, no, that's not good, has said see you later, alligator, to the Lind partners. It's great news. Well, it's a company that needs to raise money. What's the logical next step? They're going to seek money somewhere, and I bet they're going to move up and dance with the big boys. They're going to go with the boys driving Cadillacs rather than Fiats, eliminated. They gave the finger to Lind, exactly. But the difficulty is the shorts are going to try to take the premium with the options players within 2 weeks. But just like happened in July, and then, we've got September. But I believe, from looking at the chart, this investor that came on, which maybe some of you recognized his voice, I trust him. And he's hearing all over the street that there's buying from institutions, buying from major shareholders. And I wouldn't be surprised to see really huge action in the stock to the upside this week. So I had a chart that confirmed that. But I'm not going to go much. I'm not going to go much longer here because I'm not thinking very rapidly. So the investor wasn't Chinese, but he was that's a good observation, actually. He wasn't Chinese. I'm not sure who the investors are that are coming, but I've heard buying all over the place, and I don't think it's going to stop. And the fundamentals on Finger are so strong. I don't think people are processing. This isn't, come on. This isn't, we have a contract, and as soon as we get the money, we're going to move into Greece and then parts of Europe, and then we're going to be flying exclusively from some strange country in Africa. It's no come on like this. This is 6 areas of business, top-up business, the SMS, MMS, bulk business texting business, which has been on hold while the lockdown was in China. These are 2 high revenue, predictable areas, low profit margins. Then you've got the highest of profit margins coming in their big data category with a focus primarily on insurtech, but there's room in health insurance, in financial services. There's all sorts of areas, but initially it'll be on Pacific Re and Munich Re business, and they've set up a scientific lab, and they're working together. They're going to roll out phase 2, and they expect to monetize this, amortize it this year, break even this year. And then they've got the what I think is just brilliant. They've got Apple Care. That's what they call it, but mobile device protection. China has rolled out 5G throughout the country. Maybe some of their, I don't think they're called provinces, but some of their provinces haven't gotten it yet, but they've largely rolled it out while we're bombing deserts and assaulting mountains and picking fights around the world. China's building out its infrastructure with trillions of dollars. Well, as that 5G comes in, people buy new phones. And in China, the phones already have the data protection plan built into the price, built into the subscription models, built into the minutes. And Finger's sitting there as a trusted, robust intermediary between the customer and the telecoms. They have worked with China Mobile, China Telecom, and now the other one, the top 3. And this is huge. They're going to get 25% of the revenue, and the way I heard it, it's like $100 a phone. It might be less. They get $25. And it's all profit. After a point, it's all profit. 60 or 70% profit. That's huge. That's coming. And it's going to be visible. Visible. They've signed up with Miju Technology. This is sort of the Netflix, as Ham calls it, of China. It's really offshore. But 100 million users. 100 million users. And then the 5, the whatever this 5 thing is again, the U5, the G5 is 5G, is also going to, they have this rich communications services platform they set up, which is going to give vivid videos. It gives, and I think with multi-communication, so it gives companies a way of contacting and interacting with consumers directly without going through an app on the phone. This is huge. I mean, this is a company on the verge of massive revenue growth. It's trading at a price as if it were a startup because of the chicanery that's gone on from Jeff Easton and Philip Vallier and the rest of them. So you're able to get in a stock at first round, angel round, venture capital round valuation when it's already had 8 years and has established its relationships, is a trusted player, has proven its business plan, and is about to go into the S-curve, in the hockey stick increase in all of the metrics for Finger. So anyway, will it happen in 2 weeks? I hope so, but it might not. Have to face that. Ukraine has 5G. Well, let's just pray that the Ukraine has all of its 28 large nuclear reactors, facilities, plants, more than one reactor each, all in good shape after this idiotic land war in the bread basket of the world, other than the United States. And the combatants are lobbing bombs. I don't know if the evolution of mankind maybe should have left that small part of the brain behind. All right, everybody. I hope it happens. Look, the market discounts good news, brings it forward. I think there's going to be a huge amount of buying this week. The shorts are under massive pressure, and all of their actions are signs of desperation. So can they organize? I think they will in the morning, try to scare everybody down. But I don't think people are going to sell. And in fact, I think it'll bring in buying. And the snapback can be like a rubber band. Sentiment can change on a dime, Jack McCarthy used to say. Sentiment can change on a dime, and it could this week. Oh, it's a hedge fund he had on the line. All right. I've never talked to a hedge fund before. Anyway, all right. I'm going to say goodnight and sign off. Well, you know what? Ted Williams, they can have the billions of dollars of U.S. tax money. What pisses me off is the trillions of dollars that Wall Street and its associate are stripping from our accounts without paying taxes. That's what bugs me more. And it's the only thing I can have a little bit of leverage on changing. So anyway, I'm going to say, should we all step foot off GTI and jump in and finger all at once? It's not legal, Tommy Moy. It's not legal for us to coordinate. It's okay if the shorts coordinate with each other. Gary Gensler has no problem with that. He has no problem if they communicate, if they spoof, they cross, they destroy companies. He has no problem with that because it's profitable for Goldman Sachs. But if we were to all together say, all together now, sell our GTII, get into finger, we could be arrested for securities fraud. So no, I can't recommend that we all do something all at once. I don't think my emphasis on finger is not to get people to sell GTII. No, sir, not at all. I think if you have 100 shares, 500 shares, 1,000 shares of finger, that's more than enough to have a nice experience. Yeah, exactly, Barbara. All right, 9:20. Let's just enjoy the rest of the night, and we'll see you tomorrow. And who knows, maybe the stock opens up 5 points tomorrow. Yeah, the thing about GTII, Robert, is if finger goes GTI, my opinion, GTI is going to go at the same time. So you won't have much chance to get in it. That's right, Tommy. All right, everybody. I'm going to call it early just because I can hear myself not thinking my gears are grinding. So I think I said it, but again, peace to everyone, love and happiness, and sleep tight. We'll catch you on the flip side.